Hello, high performers. Welcome. Welcome. Happy Monday. I hope everyone's had a great day. I'd love to introduce you to Miss Ellie Aaron, who is a friend of mine and a mindfulness and health coach, right? Holistic health coach. And she has agreed to spend some time with us talking about mindfulness, what it is, the 3 steps to a mindfulness practice, and how mindfulness can be super helpful for women in business and all humans, but we are focusing on women in business. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. So welcome, Ellie. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm happy to be here with you today. I always appreciate your presence, and we're going to talk about presence today. But I always appreciate being in your presence. I always feel, accepted when I'm in your presence. So I appreciate being with you today.
I love that so much, and I always feel very calm, actually, in your presence. You have found your purpose. You're probably so good at what you do.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're
We
welcome.
can just keep loving on each other the whole time.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Good vibes. Good vibes. Yeah. So you and I both teach mindfulness in different ways. I in therapy and I use it in coaching too. And you work one-on-one with women, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've also taught at a lot of companies. So I'll go into different companies and teach, their teams and stuff one-on-one. And then occasionally I'll do like group stuff as well. But yeah, a lot of one-on-one. Mm-hmm.
You just did that super exciting thing with Zach and Andrew, right? With their people.
That was so much fun. It was for, a group called Gay Man Thriving. That was great.
Yeah.
So I loved that. But yeah, I basically will go and, I find that people are so hungry for this knowledge, and mindfulness is just like the past few years, I've seen it go, because I started practicing meditation over a decade ago. And it was popular then, but not nearly as popular as it is now. And so now everyone's like, oh, I want to learn how to meditate. Like, everything is mindful eating, mindful breathing, mindful, communication. And so it's a beautiful quality, and it's really wonderful that it has taken off in such a large and big way. And it will just continue to do that more and more, because I think people are seeing it's like brushing your teeth. It's that important.
Well, I mean, what I've seen happen is like Western culture in the past 10 years has caught on, with John Kabat-Zinn, who's a doctor. He had a mindfulness clinic in Boston. He really was sort of the one, right, who brought it to kind of the more mainstream. And then people started doing research on it. And it's such an old, ancient practice that doesn't, there's formal mindfulness practices like meditation, and then there's informal, like just kind of bringing yourself back into your body, really like in a second, can be super helpful. But now they've done all these studies that show how effective meditation and adopting a present moment awareness practice is lowering blood pressure, I don't want to say treating heart disease, but helping with all those stress related illnesses, which is like every illness, really.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what is, for those folks who aren't as familiar, what is mindfulness?
Yeah, I love everything that you're saying there. And really, mindfulness is basically, in its most simplest form, it's a quality of attention. So it's a quality of attention that we bring to anything. So the formal definition, which you wrote, is bringing your awareness to the present moment on purpose, again and again, without any judgment. So bringing your attention to something specific in the present moment, again and again, without any judgment.
Can you give an example?
Yeah, absolutely. So right now, me and you are chatting, right? And, sometimes people have discussions with people, right? We do this all the time, and we'll notice that, our attention goes elsewhere. Maybe it goes to I wonder what this person thinks of me. I noticed that my back feels a little painful. Okay, I'm gonna bring my attention back to Marianne because that's what I'm here for. And I'm gonna come back to a state of presence without any judgment, right?
So you don't beat up on yourself or having your thoughts go to your back or what you're going to have for dinner tonight. You just gently bring yourself back to even noticing things as I'm talking to you, noticing how beautiful your eyes are and your eyebrows and your hair, and just bringing attention to, yes, I see her. I am with her. And it's really natural for your thoughts to go, right? Other places.
Yeah.
And then just kind of bringing it back. So why is that good? Why is that a good thing?
Yeah, I said this the other day when I was teaching about this as well, is that we are so rarely fully present in what we're doing because we are so multidimensional and interesting and have so many different thoughts and different things that are going on. And, especially as women, we're juggling a million different things, right? And so because of that, oftentimes we are rarely actually are here, are actually here in our life, are here for, again, the conversations with the people that matter to us at the end of the day. At the end of the day, are you actually there for the person that is in your life the most? At the end of the day, are you actually there or in the middle of the day, you're having lunch. Did you actually notice what you ate when you ate it? Or did you scarf it down, which so many of us do? And then you're like, oh, did I even have a meal? Right? Or, I find that a lot of times for women, it's about, am I actually taking time to be with me? Truly be with me? For whatever's coming up, whether it's pleasant or unpleasant. Am I able to be with myself in the moments when I'm proud of myself and I'm really happy about how things go? And am I also able to be with myself when things are challenging? I mean, to me, the deeper element of meditation and mindfulness specifically is never, for the rest of my life, abandoning myself, because we all abandon ourselves all the time, right? And we're constantly making ourselves wrong for so many different things. And mindfulness is this quality of, it's so natural. A baby's habit. It's just presence. Animals, they're so freaking good at it.
Yeah.
Right? And so can we start to cultivate this quality of attention, of kind and caring attention? That's the key, because, a lot of mindfulness that people teach right now, sometimes the kindness and the care and the compassion is left out. Because cultivating your focus and attention is really important, right? We want to be focused. We want to get things done. Boom, boom, boom. We use it as I can get things more done type of tool, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is a tool to get more shit done.
Yeah, be more productive.
Yeah. But if that quality of attention doesn't have care or kindness to it, then we're still stuck in a loop, right?
Yeah.
So this element of care and kind attention is a big part of mindfulness as well, especially in the way that John Kabat-Zinn talks about it, or a lot of the teachers that I study with talk about it. It's very important to have that element to it. But yeah, like why to care about how to cultivate this attention? Because we are so rarely actually in our life. Even for the people that do meditate every day. And I meditate, it took me a bit of time to cultivate a daily meditation practice. But after like 5 or 6 years of dabbling with it, I finally was like, okay, this is a part of my daily life. And so it took a while to trust it. But yeah, like we are rarely really in our life. And we'll so often wait for, the divorce or the breakup or the, medical diagnosis and for things to get really bad until we actually start to really be present for what's actually happening in our life.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to not ignore it and to not deny it. Yeah, because it's always there. So
I have a question about entrepreneur, like, women in business in particular, right? I've been thinking a lot about this, like, because I only work with women and I only work with women in my practice. And I know you only work with women, right?
I work with some men occasionally, but yeah, mostly women.
Mostly women.
Yeah.
So what I get sometimes is like, why do you only work with women? Like this is usually from men. Like, why do you only work with women? What is that about? But I think I feel like we have particular challenges that men just don't have. And we as business owners, we don't have role models to, like a generation ago, I was looking up, I can't like pull this out of my head. Like, I can't ever remember anything anymore. But like, I was looking up how many female entrepreneurs there were in like 1950.
Yeah.
And there were very few, and they all like ran like hotels and inns. Like they were like innkeepers.
That's so funny.
Yeah. Like we don't have really that like past few generations to look at and say, oh, that's how my mom did it. That's how my mom like ran her own, very few of us really, at least like I'm a little older, but still there are no great big examples of how somebody held everything together. And we take responsibility for everything.
Yes.
And feel guilty when we're not doing everything.
Totally.
But we can't do everything. So how could this practice help us as business owners with all these things to hold? I mean, maybe we have kids, maybe we don't, maybe we, have pets and a house to take care of and all the things.
Yeah.
And maybe we have really involved partners too, but it still seems like there's something with women and the guilt and the I need to do everything. And is everybody okay? Is everybody okay?
Is everybody
like everybody needs to be okay all the time. And it's my job to make sure everybody's okay. That is like so much pressure, right?
Oh my gosh.
So, and we're running businesses. So how the hell do we do all that? So how can mindfulness, how can that help?
Yeah, well, I feel like you're talking about a few different things, which I so love because, well, first of all, I think a lot of women, and I see this with so many of my female friendships, are like, I need to save this person because they can't take care of themselves. And then we get into like really odd loops with other people where I don't know about you, but I think we talked about this one time, Marianne, like I get a feeling of like self-satisfaction if I support somebody or save somebody. But by being in that loop, I'm actually robbing them of their own like power and strength that they actually have for themselves. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, a lot of us and a lot of women do that. It doesn't have to be even like a clinical thing, right? It's just like a behavioral.
Right. We're socialized to do that.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And so part of, I think, the way that meditation and mindfulness starts to, illuminate this is actually we start to see ourselves more clearly, and we start to see our patterns and behaviors more quickly. Right?
Oh, yes.
So we start to see our patterns, behaviors, and maybe things that have been going on for frickin' years. And then once we start to see things more clearly about the way that we're showing up, maybe in ways that aren't helpful, both to ourselves and to others, then we have an opportunity, because we start to see it more clearly, to maybe begin to shift that sort of behavior. And, we can do that in like talk therapy, right? Which I'm a big proponent of. I love it. And we can do that by sitting on the cushion or the mat or wherever it is that you meditate, and start to cultivate this awareness and bring this awareness to our daily life. And that's another form of, I'm going to start to, I think both are important. I'm going to start to see myself more clearly because I'm simply cultivating my awareness, right? A lot of our, I don't know, how much do they say like most of our behavior is unconscious, right? We're essentially making more of our behavior and our patterns more conscious by meditating and by cultivating mindfulness. So if there are patterns that you feel stuck in your life and you're like, why the hell am I still here? Right? Mm-hmm. Like, I thought I figured this out, or like, why the heck can't I XYZ? I think cultivating a loving and caring attention is the first step in beginning to actually change those behaviors.
Because you don't really know what isn't or is working unless you're aware of it.
Absolutely.
And it takes present moment awareness to be aware of it. But so many of us are chasing like the cure. We're chasing the answer. We're chasing the book, that we can read that's going to tell us how to do everything,
Exactly.
And there's a reason why that doesn't work.
Exactly. And so it's really all about introspection in some way. Mm-hmm. Like another definition, and this is kind of going into the meditation realm, is really the exploration of getting to know your own mind, right? And I think mindfulness is absolutely a part of that. But we're getting to know ourselves. We're getting to know ourselves. And we can do that in so many different ways. But this is one major way of, I'm going to get to know myself. And the answer is not in a book. We may have insight from a book, or it might be a piece of it, but it's a lifelong practice to get to know yourself, because we are always changing and evolving. So how can I meet myself every day on the cushion, meditating and having, mindfulness practice when I'm feeling anxious, right? Can I wake up, I have something in my mind or heart, and I sit there and I cultivate a non-judgmental, caring attention towards whatever's there. And the next day I wake up and I feel, differently. Something else is there, another anxiety. And then I meet that with care and love. And so, it's about meeting yourself again and again with where you're at, with non-judgment and care. I mean, I feel like essentially, really what we're doing is we're becoming our own loving parent.
Yeah.
Right? The love that we so desperately want from other people, we start to learn how to cultivate that care and attention towards ourselves.
And again, unfortunately, a lot of us don't have role models for that, because we didn't get that ourselves. So we need coaching, or I don't mean like, professional coaching necessarily, but help doing that, because we don't even, I always tell people to learn the language of self-compassion. If you don't know it, you need to be around it and listen to it, just like you're learning a foreign language. Like, to really learn French, you move to France. You need to hear it, be around it, absorb it, because you don't know what it sounds like. So cultivating that, you need to learn it, first of all.
Absolutely. I love what you're saying. And we're not taught that in school. I mean, now and more we are. I've taught kids meditation, but
Yeah.
we're not taught that in school, originally. At least I didn't when I was growing up. And when I finally started to learn how to meditate, it shifted everything. Finally, there was a space between what I was experiencing, and which was intense anxiety and just like stuck in a loop of depression. I was in college, and I was just like blaming everything outside of me. I was like, this fucking school sucks, and the environment is horrible, and blaming, just constant blame. And when I sat there for the first time and meditated, I found the simplicity of just paying attention to my breath. There was finally a sense of peace there, but nothing outside of me shifted.
Right.
Like, oh, nothing outside of me is shifting, but I'm having a totally different experience of myself in the world.
So what would you say to a woman who, like probably a lot of women in this group, I know, we all have struggles, right? Who maybe is just keeps telling herself that she's not working hard enough. Like this, I get DMs a lot from women saying, expressing like frustration, like this just is taking so long. I'm exhausted. I can't do this for much longer. It's not happening.
Yeah.
What would you say in the context of meditation or mindfulness, or like a loving, like we're talking about the loving, being your own, learning to be your own parent?
Yeah, well, I think this is so common for women, and a lot of my clients experience this, is like nothing is ever good enough. Nothing they do is ever good enough. Like they get the client, they've gotten, even when they start implementing some of the things we work on, which is, daily movement and eating better and different things, there's still the loop of what I'm doing is not enough, or they get the new client or the new income goal. And, so the thing that's so important is if that doesn't start to shift, that I'm like, whatever I do is never enough and I'm never satisfied, like clearly that's like a freaking cycle that they're in their whole life, that doesn't matter what outside of them is going to shift. It has to be an internal shift of, like you're saying, starting to talk to yourself in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not external. It really is an internal job of how we begin to switch these things. And this quality of mindfulness and attention is a huge part of that. And so we have to like pause and bust the myth that when I get the next income goal, then I'm finally going to be satisfied. When I lose the 15 pounds, I'm satisfied with myself. When your thing is just like seeing the truth, and that's a fallacy.
Mm-hmm.
Because what we're really grappling with is our own internal, and this is a beautiful part about ourselves. I'm not saying don't keep evolving and changing and don't have goals. I think those are beautiful. And especially as entrepreneurs, we thrive on that because we want to support and help a lot of other people, right? Through our work. But if that's the litmus test on your worth, Or are you like knowing that you're enough? No, that starts first. And that is the internal work that nobody else can do for you but you. You know, you can have mentors, you can have coaches, but at the end of the day, do you believe that you are enough as you are?
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, are you celebrating how much you are doing already? Because we're all doing so much already.
Yeah.
Right? And so I'm really passionate about this because it's like one of the biggest myths out there, and especially with entrepreneurship.
So bad. It's so bad. It's so bad.
And so, yes.
Yeah.
So this really, especially for women, and whatever it is for you that's watching right now, you know, whatever thing in your mind, like, no, this is the baseline, is we actually have to start here. And it all starts with the quality of attention and care, really, that we have towards ourselves. And that presence, we've all, hopefully we've all had that from somebody. When we're around them, there's such a sense of care and unconditional presence from them. You know, maybe it's a grandparent, maybe it's a coach of yours, where when you're around them, you're like, okay, I'm enough. I'm doing enough. Like, I'm home. Like, yeah. I'm okay. And that's what we're trying to do for ourselves through this practice, really.
Yeah, totally. I mean, you just said so many great things there. You and I really jam on these things when we talk to each other, because this kind of stuff is not talked about enough in the entrepreneurial space. There's a lot of talk about grinding, not sleeping, constantly working, and it is not sustainable.
Nope. The hustle.
Yes, it is completely unsustainable.
Yep.
And the fact that we have access to our work 24/7 is like a high performer, perfectionist dream, but it's also their own personal hell.
Yes.
Because it's, like you said, it comes from a place of never feeling worthy and never feeling like you're enough. Because like you said, like they get that client, okay, there's a moment maybe of relief, but it's always like more. And that's the grinding mentality too. Like you always just got to keep going. And it's not sustainable. If you listen closely, we've heard stories from people we know personally.
Totally.
You know, you end up depressed, sometimes having suicidal thoughts.
Totally.
You're exhausted. You end up sick. And like you said, and this is like Westerners are like this, right? Like we don't pay attention until something like smacks us over the head.
Yeah.
And then we're like, oh, whoa. And then it's sometimes, unfortunately, it's too late.
Yes.
So it's so important for us to slow down, to believe that everything is going to work out. And I don't mean like you said, it's not about not having goals.
Of course.
But it's the good things really do happen when you let go a little bit, because it's about control too, right? Like we want to feel like we have the pulse on everything that's going on. And really that's about control.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And we don't have any control over anything other than ourselves. And I love
we're still trying to figure out how to have.
Right. I love how you said it's an inside job, because you can hire anybody. I did a post about this a while ago. Like you can hire anybody to do like anything except, like you said, talk to yourself with compassion, Be kind to yourself. Believe that you're worthy. Nobody can like infuse those thoughts into your head.
And that quality of care and attention, 1,000%. You know, I've worked with lots of different people. I've worked with multimillionaires, women, and they still struggle with these things. And
Yeah.
so whatever version it is for you, like when I make a certain amount of money, you know, when I become a millionaire or whatever, when I get the, you know, the perfect partner, whatever your version of that is, they still struggle with these internal, an internal war of, you know, self-talk that is full of shame or full of like just mean self-talk. And so sure, we can all strive, and yes, I absolutely want to make a lot of money, and that's a beautiful thing. And, you know, and I want XYZ, and I want a lot of things, but those things, I'll only be able to appreciate them and be present for them and the gift that they are in my life if I've worked with whatever is happening in here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really interesting. It's like the internal game and the internal, and, you know, we have to be compassionate towards ourselves because, like you said, we typically don't have role models of this. You know, if you think of your parents, which is a huge part of our upbringing, you know, what messages, how did they relate to themselves? You know, how did they relate to their challenges and pains? How did they really, you know, did they model for you that they were proud of themselves when things went well? Or did they model for you other ideas about what success means? And are they fulfilled? You know, I don't know. I would say a lot of parents, at least I didn't grow up that way, and I love my parents, but they didn't model that for me. And so, you know, and I think there are leaders who are really starting to share that more and more and who get it. And yet I think like mostly a lot of people don't share that. So, and it's also like trying this out for yourself. Like if you really go through your history and your past, when you got whatever you thought the thing was, were you happy forever? Like, was there a sense of fulfillment that like stayed forever? Like, Marianne, was there anything that you?
Oh, sorry. No, it never lasts. No, that's just not how it works.
It just doesn't last.
It's always like there's something else. Yeah.
Exactly.
Unless as long as you're breathing, there's always, it doesn't last.
Totally. It doesn't. And it doesn't have to, because that's not human nature, the way that our mind works.
Yeah.
And with cultivating a sense of mindfulness and presence, what we can start to grow is this sense of appreciation for what is, and to actually be present for the gifts that are here. So that, you know, it's like, I know in positive psychology too, like savoring what's here. And that's a quality of mindfulness, right? Like being here for the things that are so precious and beautiful and fleeting, actually.
Yeah, everything's fleeting.
Everything.
Blooming flowers, colors on, you know, leaves on trees. Yes, James put that. Yes. Everything's fleeting. And if you don't, you know, you miss it if you don't savor it. And you have to be in the moment in order to do that.
Bingo.
Yeah. So do you want to do a practice? It's just you and me on here. So
let's do
fun. Yeah, let's do a practice.
How long are you thinking? Like 10 to 15 minutes, or what do you want to do?
Sure.
Let's do like,
let's
do 10. Let's do a 10-minute practice.
Okay.
Okay, beautiful. So Go ahead and get comfortable in your body.
Okay.
You can bring your palms on your thighs and just allow yourself to arrive here, right? Maybe there are different things that have happened earlier today and different things that are being planned for later today. Go ahead and just allow yourself to arrive in your body first. So allow your body to release into your chair. Allow the chair to really support you right now. So just allow the chair to hold you. Anything that's going on in your mind or heart, know right now that it is all held literally by your chair and also by the earth underneath you. Feeling your feet wherever they are, whether they're in shoes or on the floor. Feeling your feet. And go ahead and feel, once again, your seat connected to the chair. Maybe your thighs connected to the chair. Feeling your palms resting on your thighs. Go ahead and take an uplifted posture. So feeling a sense of a buoyant spine. And the crown of the head lifted up towards the sky. And go ahead and allow your belly to soften. So relaxing the belly. Relax the muscles in the face. Then go ahead and take 2 full breaths here, breathing in through your nose and breathing out through your nose. Good. One more deep, slow breath in. Deep, slow, long breath out. And as you begin to notice maybe yourself a bit more present, start to notice any areas of your body where you feel your breathing. So maybe you feel your breath in your abdomen right now. Or maybe you feel your breath in your chest area as your chest expands and contracts. Or maybe you feel the breath right at the nostrils as the cool air moves in, the slightly warmer air moves out of the nostrils. So starting to bring this attention to the feeling of the breath. So again, maybe you feel the breath most fully in your belly, or in your chest, or in your nostrils. Pick whichever one feels most full with breath for you. You can just continue breathing normally, just your normal inhale and exhale. So this is our second step here, is really just bringing our attention to the sensation of breathing. Now, you may notice pretty quickly that maybe different thoughts are coming up, different sensations. So that's totally okay. This is so normal. The body produces and the mind produces thoughts, just like the stomach is digesting. And your heart is beating right now in your chest. So thoughts are not bad. This is totally normal that you're thinking. When you notice that you're caught in a thought, simply label that moment in your own mind thinking. Oh, I'm thinking right now. And then guide your attention back to the sensation of breath in your body. You can also bring your attention back to the fact that you're sitting here and feel your body sitting on your chair. Thoughts go into thinking. Again, totally normal. When you notice that, simply recognize it, say thinking, and then guide the attention kindly, but also firmly, back to really being here, back to your body, back to the feeling of the breath in your body. Keep coming back. Notice when you're caught in a thought or in a sensation or whatever's coming up for you. Notice it, say thinking, and come back to feeling your body, sitting here, breathing. You can bring your palms together in front of your chest if you'd like, as a gesture of honoring yourself, each other, anybody practicing right now. And we can just gently, if you want, just take a bow of just acknowledgement, if that feels good to you, acknowledging ourselves and each other. Thank you.
That was 10 minutes.
Yeah.
That went so fast.
I know. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So let's break down these steps a little bit, but anything come up for you, Marianne?
Yeah, one thing that I noticed is I'm going through this period right now where I'm kind of healing from some pretty tough stuff, and I've gained some weight during the 6 months, and I noticed feeling really uncomfortable when you were guiding me to get into my body. I was just like noticing like, yeah, I don't want to notice my belly, because that's one of my like areas that I stress about, that my clothes are a little tighter in. So like I felt this impulse to not do it, like to avoid it. Like I don't want to do that. But instead, I listened to what you're saying and I just allowed myself to do it, to just go there and notice. And I also noticed that my neck is like killing me, which I haven't noticed all day. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So that's so normal. Hmm?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're not
Hi,
doing
Lupita. Lupita's here. Yay.
hi. Yeah, I just want to normalize that for you because we spend most of our time and our days not in our body and not present
Yeah.
with ourselves. And so that when we pause and stop and start to notice what's here, it's sometimes pleasant, but a lot of times it's unpleasant.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, honestly, for women, we have tend to have so much shame about our bodies and where we are in any given moment in our bodies. And there's so much like dysmorphia about that too. Like, just a detachment that's so painful and unhealthy, and I definitely feel it, especially when I'm not feeling good, or my clothes are tight, or because it's all this emotional stuff too, like, it's just hard.
It is, it is. So it's just, it can be so much easier to avoid. And most of us do.
Mm-hmm.
I know that I certainly have and do in certain areas. And so this is the part of meditation that isn't always talked about. It will make you peaceful.
Yes.
It will make you calm.
Yes.
It'll
Yeah.
also make you look at the stuff, if you choose, that
Yeah.
you don't want to deal with, that you stuff underneath the surface of your own mind and your body. And so again, how can we bring loving attention to that experience? Can you not make any of that wrong, right? Like what you
Yeah.
noticed. Oh, I noticed XYZ about my body. Oh, I noticed, I have a little pain in my neck or whatever. Okay, awareness, and we can go our whole life numbing in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
We can use work to numb.
Yeah.
So many women, I think, use work as a void of let me not actually look at how I'm really doing,
Oh, for sure.
you know?
Yeah.
So know that that's totally welcome. And meditation in its application, it's very simple actually, and we can go over the steps right now of what we did.
Okay.
Not easy. It's not easy necessarily. So the first thing we did was we got in the body, which the first step is called taking your seat. So establishing a posture. And that posture is about having a regal, almost like a queen of her throne. I'm sitting here, my body's supported by, this lovely chair that you have behind you. And I'm sitting tall, but I also have a sense of ease and relaxation. So it's this quality of being not too tight, not too loose in the body, right? Like a finely tuned violin, if you don't tune it properly, and anybody plays string instrument, for example, right? If you don't tune it properly, it won't play well. And so same with the body. If we're too tight when we meditate, we're like, I'm meditating right now. But if we're too loose, then it's like, okay, good night. I'm going to
you fall asleep. Yeah.
So taking your seat, it's about establishing a posture of dignity and like, again, like a queen on her throne, but also a sense of ease. Okay. So really that's the first step. And it was about, having your palms resting on your thighs, having your body sitting upright, but not uptight, length of the head towards the ceiling, relaxed belly, relaxed face, but at the same time here, right? Like I'm here, assuming the position.
Like taking up space
Exactly.
in my chair.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. I'm present with my body right
Yeah.
now. So main things to remember: tall spine, a sense of ease, and feeling supported by the ground underneath you. You closed your eyes. I kept mine open. You can do them either way. A lot of people find it really challenging to keep their eyes open. In the practice that I teach, I keep my eyes open because, again, the idea of mindfulness is we're trying to cultivate mindfulness in our daily life. And most of our daily life is not done with our eyes closed. So it's, how can I learn how to really bring this presence to everything I do? And so, yeah, those are the main elements of it. The second step was bringing our attention to the breath, right? To wherever you felt the breath most fully in your body. So maybe it's the chest, maybe it's the belly, maybe it's the nostrils. So which one was it for you? Chest, belly, or nostrils?
Nostrils.
Those nostrils. Okay.
Yeah.
Great. So yeah, whichever one of those areas you feel the breath most clearly, you decide, okay, I'm going to bring my attention to that particular area. That's the home of your meditation. The home of your practice for mindfulness is that space, that being with the breath. That's what you focus your attention on. So that's the second step, bringing your attention to the feeling of the breath. Now, pretty quickly, you'll notice the mind starts to wander away. It does not stay on the breath. And again, that's totally okay, right? The fallacy, one of the biggest fallacies of meditation is that we're supposed to stop thinking.
Yes.
We're supposed to clear our thoughts.
Yes.
No, you are not. Unless you are dead, you are going to be thinking. And so what we do in this third step is notice, our attention went elsewhere, right? Oh, my neck hurts. Oh, I forgot to do this thing. Oh, I need to go to the bathroom, blah, blah, blah. Pause, stop, bring the attention back. And we have that moment of, oh, I'm thinking. So it's that recognition, awareness. Oh, I'm thinking, back to the breath. Okay, blah, 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 blah. I forgot to do this thing for this client. Thinking, right? Like whatever it may be, I'm not doing that right now. I'm meditating. I'm going to bring attention back to being here. And this practice, this cycle happens many, many times throughout a particular session. It can happen once, twice, as many times. And then we go, I'm thinking, back to the breath, back to the body, back to being here. And I'm not going to get mad at myself for thinking, oh, you're thinking again. No, just like, okay, I'm thinking. Cool. Back to the breath. Because a lot of people get angry at themselves because they think there's something wrong that they're thinking. No, there's nothing wrong. Nothing wrong. This is totally normal. Back to the breath. And you do that again and again and again. So those are the three steps. And this is just one particular type of practice. There are many different, meditation practices. Mindfulness of breath and body is what we just did. And it will transform your life.
Yeah.
It will. Doing quote, nothing.
Yeah.
Sitting and being with your breath and body will transform your life. For 10 minutes a day, for 15 minutes a day, for 20 minutes a day, even for 5 minutes a day, it will transform your life.
Yeah.
It certainly has for me. And the benefits are just so large, from, and, they did studies where the amygdala actually shrinks, right? Our fight or flight response
Yeah.
Shortens because we're regulating our nervous systems essentially. And so it's just incredibly powerful.
Yeah, this seriously, this is it. Like really.
Right?
Ellie, this is like, we are in this space where it's really not talked about too much, and this is it. Like if you are able, what you just described, like, okay, thinking, coming back, you're setting boundaries for yourself, right? You're saying it's okay. I'm not going to judge you for doing shit the brain normally does, but it's not time for that. So we're going to come back to this. It's like, it's okay. It's cool. Let's come back. And so often, like, I can't tell you how many women come back after we'll practice something in a session, and we'll say, what days can you, practice this at home? And they'll come back and they're like, I sucked so bad at that. I was horrible at that. And then they'll start cracking up because they know, like, that's the opposite of what it's about. Like,
right.
Just like notice that that's what comes out. We're so used to judging, and our amygdala is so on autopilot.
Yep.
Like most of us live in fight, freeze, or flight mode.
Yep. Yep.
And if we're always in fight, freeze, or flight mode, we are not going to have successful sales calls. We're not going to be able to connect with the people who we so want to be of service to. None of it's going to happen.
And find fulfillment.
Yeah. And really enjoy those moments. Yeah. Yes. Good point.
Like
yes.
Just find fulfillment in our life, because, unfortunately, like, there are a lot of people in business who who are in fight, flight, freeze mode a lot, and who like, play the game of more, stress, blah, 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 blah. But I think as women, we're starting to change the conversation of like, no, this has to actually be fulfilling on a soul level, where I'm in integrity with myself and integrity with the people I serve. And there's an actual emotional connection to who I'm supporting and serving.
Yes.
And it's a very different framework than 50,000 sales calls and like, check.
Yeah.
And then the end of the day, are you finding fulfillment?
Yeah. And that has to do with purpose, right?
Yeah.
Like, are you in your purpose? If you are feeling unfulfilled, you probably aren't in your purpose.
Yeah. Or you're not showing up, and you're not showing up for it enough.
Right.
Totally. Yeah.
This was so fantastic. Thank you so much. Lapita, I don't think she's on here anymore, but she said not placing judgment to the thoughts or labeling them, which is so, when you try to not do that, then you realize how much you do it.
We're doing it all the time.
Yeah.
We do it all the time. So at least with these practices, we can start to become aware of it, and maybe and slowly start to shift how it all happens, and start to shift this for ourselves, where not everything we do, it feels like not enough. And not everything we do feels like, oh, I failed at that. And, no, there starts to be some genuine appreciation for who you are and for how much you show up as a human being. It starts to be enough, you know? And ironically, slowing down and just being, that's where it starts with being with yourself and being with your breath.
Yeah.
Every day, cultivating time every day. And for some people, mindfulness can be intense. I don't know how you're doing on time. I'm happy to jam for a little bit more.
I'm good.
I've taken some mindfulness-based trauma courses as well, because it was really important for me to start understanding okay, not everybody can just sit and be with their body, and how to mitigate that in a meditation as a meditation teacher. And so know that there are lots of ways of how to enter into this space, and sitting and meditating may feel really intense at the start. It may, and I think a lot of people, because it doesn't feel easy or doesn't always feel pleasant right away, will write it off as I'm not doing it right.
Right.
Because it's unpleasant.
Yeah. Because
when we start to open the can of what's there and we haven't really looked at it, we're like, oh, that smells a little bit,
Yeah.
If you don't look at your stuff, if you don't look at your shit, honestly, then once you start looking at it, it's not always pleasant. And I mean, it's interesting. I know you didn't necessarily want to talk about the Buddha or anything, and I don't know if you're open to me sharing a little bit about that.
Yeah, of course.
So yes. The Buddha saw himself as basically as a doctor for the mind and for for healing, a doctor of healing, and so I think these practices are really about healing at its essence and at its core. And healing, it's, when you take medicine, it doesn't always taste good, but that it's doing what it's supposed to do in your body. Same type of deal. When we start to sit and be with ourselves, it may not always taste good, but by learning, how to be essentially resilient with our own experience, there's such strength and emotional strength and really, it's a muscle that we're building, and we get stronger that way, so anyone who's watching this and didn't have a pleasant experience there, I just want to let you know that you didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah.
And it doesn't necessarily become easier, but you are able to deal with the uncomfortability more and more.
Yeah.
And you may have a wonderful experience like I did the first time I meditated, where I was like, oh my God, I feel a sense of ease for the first time in years, and a sense of peace. Even for 2 or 3 minutes, when someone is in a state of constant anxiety and depression, and suddenly they feel a sense of peace and well-being, that's transformational.
Yeah, without being altered in some way when you're diving into work or binge watching Netflix or, I mean, we all know when we're kind of numbing, oh, I just want to do that. I mean, everybody does it.
We all know, and that's another coping mechanism, and that's okay sometimes.
Yeah.
And just being conscious of that choice.
Yeah, it's not black and white. It's not, it's all welcome. All welcome here.
That's right.
Thank you so much, Ellie.
Thank you, Marianne. This was such a pleasure, and I really admire you for the beautiful community that you have built here. And yeah, it's just wonderful to witness that.
I love that you're part of it. And I'm really grateful that you decided to share some time with us today. And I'm grateful for that meditation. That was just what I needed. So thank you so much.
My pleasure.
I hope you have a great night.
You too.
Thanks. Thanks.
Bye, everybody.
Good night.
Good night. Much love.
Bye. Love you.
Love you guys.